Hi there, Unite for Her community. Cameron Kocher Fellow here with you on this very hot Monday to kick the week off. And I am honored to be with you back again. I've really enjoyed the last few weeks watching Sue with Adjoa at Reap Wellness. And then last week, Jen with Patricia, the pastry chef from the Masters Baker. So thrilled to be back with you. I see a few people watching. Please comment, say hello. We have a great chef for you tonight. I did want to point out one quick thing about last week. Patricia from the Masters Baker was just full of knowledge, and they put together a really great tips and tricks sheet afterwards that is on our Facebook page, on our Instagram page. So if you were really interested in making that the key lime, please stop over, visit our page, and check out those tips and tricks because there were some really great ones. But without further ado, I'm very honored to introduce our chef this evening. He has actually been with us at Harvest for the past 6 years, so many of you will know him. And we've been chatting a bit, catching up on what's been going on through quarantine. And hi there, someone from Unite for Her, I think that's Peyton, is watching. So let me pull Chef Scott Megill in. And he is coming right up. Hey, Scott, we're here.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Cam?
I'm great. I am so thrilled to have you with us this evening and even more excited about what you're making because even though it is very hot out today, I feel like I can always eat soup. So when you sent me over that you were making corn soup, I couldn't be more excited and be more excited to be part of this evening and watching you make this. So I know that we'll be chatting as you're making it. So I was just gonna let you dive right in and start cooking and start teaching. And the views are going up. So I see a lot of people are joining us and watching. So that'll continue to happen the longer we're on. So anyone who's just joining, we are with Scott Megill and we're just thrilled to have him here. Many of you know him from Harvest. So you ready, Scott?
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn this over to you. We have some questions that we'll be asking throughout while you are cooking. And take us away with what you're making tonight and what made you want to make this dish.
So making a corn soup, nice summer corn soup. It's a really good dish that's very good hot, or you can chill it. You gotta make some little adjustments after you chill it, and I can go through that after that, just to make sure that, like, with chilled soups versus hot soups, there's always little tweaks that you need to make sure that they're really good. Restaurants know that, most people don't. That's why most people don't really like chilled soup. So, so right now I'm gonna kind of point you down to my mise en place here. We got all this going on right here. So what we're making is a nice sweet corn soup. Really basic. I have some onion, fennel, celery as the base for it. Some nice Lancaster sweet corn, a little bit of garlic, and then I'm gonna make a little hush puppy to garnish it, which is, if you're not familiar with a hush puppy, I'm sorry for you. But also it's basically just like a little fried savory cornbread that is just a nice little side in the South. So if you have no experience with it, get some experience with it.
I love it. This is the perfect way to learn, to watch you make it. And yeah. I know that as long as my daughter is asleep, Kyle is watching, and because the hush puppy part really intrigued him. So he may be watching, he may not, but the great thing about this, for anyone that misses this too, or misses a portion of this, it lives on our Facebook page, on our social media page. So head back and you can watch step by step how Scott is making all of this. And please, anyone watching, any questions that you have as Scott's making anything or any substitutions you would like, just type them right into the comments and I'll shout them out to Scott as we go along this fun corn soup and hush puppy journey.
Okay, I'm getting my pan hot. I did a little bit of mise en place. I hope everybody knows that word. If not, it means everything in its place, but it means just getting things prepped up. So this is onions, fennel, and celery. I'm not using carrots in this because I want that nice like yellow and pale kind of. I want it to be kind of a clean, like pale yellow rather than having that carrot in there, which will kind of automatically make it kind of orangey. So staying away from that, but I like fennel to add that sweetness that the carrot adds as well. So, and my secret weapon in a lot of my recipes is fennel because of that nice little anisey sweetness that in most recipes just kind of falls into the background and makes a really nice note.
Mm-hmm.
If you eat just straight fennel, it's overpowering and not pleasant, but that's what we're going to go for. So I have some corn already kerneled up. I'm going to get it roasting off. I'm going to get some caramelization on that corn before I get the aromatics in there. That way it has that depth of flavor. Another little, darn it. Okay. So if the recipe is attached to this thing, it says sunflower seeds. Mm-hmm. I screwed that up in my mise en place, so they're not here right now. It's not a necessary ingredient, but it adds a nice little nuttiness and it like bumps up that like summery note of like toasty, roasty, and everything. So yeah.
That's awesome. Well, and that's what's cool. Like, it's one of those things, and we talked about earlier even, that sometimes you can just add it, like use up and adding that sunflower seeds and that, hey, if you don't have it, not a huge deal. It's not like you can't make this, but if you do have it, here's a really great way that maybe people don't think to use sunflower seeds in a soup.
And in like a pureed soup, I like using something that will add the body without adding a lot of like cream or something like that, because that makes it super heavy and then it really just makes it taste like cream. So adding nuts or adding like potato or blowing rice out in a soup, and by blowing rice out, I mean just like cooking it till it like basically turns into rice starch anyway. So we have the corn starch from the corn already. So I'm going to bring you over.
Great.
So right now we have corn roasting in there, and then on this back here, I utilized corn cobs, the green tops of the fennel, the top and bottom of the celery, and like the butt ends of the onions and stuff like that. Things that you don't use, like I utilize those to take that flavor and just keep building those flavors. There's one thing as like home cooks, a lot of people forget or like don't take those extra steps that like professional chefs take, mostly out of necessity. Mm-hmm. You want to utilize everything that you have, so as to not waste it and get every last like squeeze every inch of that out of that penny. So, and I'm going to show you. Go ahead.
I just had a quick, Karen, hi Karen, by the way, had a quick question if you can use frozen corn in this recipe too.
One more time, sorry.
Can you use frozen corn in substitution for your fresh?
Frozen corn, it literally will go like the same amount to the same amount. You just won't have the corn cobs extra to make your corn stock or anything like that. You could use regular veg stock, or if you don't mind having meat, using chicken stock will make it even like meatier and like add another depth of flavor. So you can definitely do that. It's just using the cobs is a way to utilize it.
That's awesome. I do. And you feel like, right, we hear about that all the time, using as much of everything that you have, and some things you wouldn't even think to use. Like I know when we get our Lancaster Farm Fresh box, Aaron, who's watching, hi Aaron, always says like you could use every piece of it, and sometimes it's in a stock or you roast it, or I feel like when all else fails, I roast something. But so that's great.
All else fails, roast or pickle it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here we go, and luckily I'm doing this step, and I wonder if you can see it.
Yep, I can totally see it. It looks delicious.
You got some nice brown on those corn kernels. So I'm gonna add those veg in there. And I'm gonna show 2 tricks. Maybe they know them and maybe they don't, but like first one is going to be just doing a simple smash to peel the garlic. Can you see that? Yes, I lined it up.
Yep, totally can see that. Looks great.
So like that, pop it right off. And then an important, I don't know if you can see how I'm standing, but I'm kind of angled toward the camera, not straight onto the board. That allows my arm to kind of move back and forth, and that I can go super fast. I can talk to you. I'm actually looking at the camera to make sure that my knife is yeah.
I love that. That's a great tip though too, like because not everyone is a home chef necessarily is skilled with knives. I know that a lot of times Kyle sees me cutting things and he's like covers his eyes. He's terrified I'm going to cut a finger off or something. But I like that tip of shifting your body and
it gives your arm somewhere to go. And like the thing that everybody has trouble with is like having their thumb in the right spot. Like everybody starts going like this, and then all of a sudden you have thumb in your soup. So like if you're like this, you can go like so, and your arms already started going that way, and it's not super awkward to try to like
maneuver.
So those are some tricks. And then also with corn, rather than having a corn cob and trying to go like this, and then corn's shooting all the way over there, all the way over to my mother-in-law over there. So instead of that, keeping it like break it into sizes that you can actually deal with, and just put it along the side, and then rotate it down, and then basically cleaned all off. It's all right here. It's not all over there. So
that tip spoke directly to me because I am the one that is standing the corn up really high. It's shooting everywhere. So I can officially say that is a new trick that I just learned, and I'm very excited because we do eat a lot of corn in the summer. It's so good. So that's great. You said hi, yeah?
That's like I did that with a line cook staring at me, and he went just because he was setting up like mixing bowls within mixing bowls and trying to get it to like corral it. I also have done it into like in a fish flat, which if you don't know what that is, it's basically just a big rectangular Tupperware that like if I'm cutting directly in it, it's not going to go anywhere. And he just mouth agape and just goes like, that's not fair. That's stupid simple. And you did it. So,
right. Well, hey, it's always great to learn, no matter what profession you're in, always learning. And it's really nice sometimes to learn something new. And even when it's very simple like that, because it's great. It's a great tip. Thank you.
Yep. So I sliced up that garlic. I threw it in there. You throw it in a little bit after your other vegetables because garlic burns pretty easily. And if it burns, basically like just throw everything out because you can't save it after garlic is burned because it just gets so acrid and so bitter and it permeates throughout everything with the oils that are in there. So I got that toasted off. I threw a knob of butter, which is a legit measure knob. It's a English measure, I think. So yeah, that's just throw probably about 2 tablespoons to a quarter of a cup of butter in there, which would be about a stick. You can go less. You can definitely go less, but it's a nice buttery corn and everything. I'm going to add a little bit extra corn that I cut up because you could use it and it's there and why waste it? So there's that. So I'm going to bring it over.
Great.
So we have that kind of going.
And how long has the corn stock on the back burner? How long has that been simmering or cooking?
It's been sitting there for a couple of hours.
Okay.
Roughly about, what time is it now? So roughly about 2 hours, but it's pretty much ready to go after like bring it up to a boil, let it sit for a little bit, let it simmer for maybe 10, 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then pretty much good. It's not like there's proteins that need to get extracted or anything. The longer it sits, the more it's just going to kind of like, everything's just going to kind of sit in there and commingle. So it's going to be more cohesive, but it's not going to have like a whole lot more body or anything like that. Like,
okay.
Like a chicken stock needs to go for 2 or 3 hours. So, so I'm just keeping everything moving, making sure like no garlic sits in one spot where it could burn or anything like that. I'm just trying to get that butter melted, foamy, and just kind of getting all those veg translucent and everything. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I have 2 spices, and brought to you by McCormick. So a little bit of smoked paprika, since I'm not, if you were like grilling the corn, if you had like leftover grilled corn and you wanted to do that, you wouldn't necessarily need that.
Okay.
And then I have a little bit of curry powder and a little longer. That is literally for kind of that turmeric punch to make that little bit of yellow.
And that was really curry powder, you said? It got funky for a second there. Curry powder, perfect. Okay.
Curry powder. Just like, it's essentially like you could use just turmeric if you don't want that, if you don't want any curry flavor.
Okay.
And you could go heavy with the turmeric if you want the anti-inflammatory stuff and everything like that. Or this is just trying to kind of give some spice back note, like just background spice to it. And then that smoked paprika, 1, helps with the color, and 2, like gives that kind of smoky, roasty corn kind of flavor as well. So everything's kind of commingled, translucent, soft, and everything like that. And I'm just gonna, I have my handy dandy chinois, which is French.
I love that. We've seen that a few times now in these cooking.
French for China cap or China hat. So we're just gonna pour directly in.
So right through the, and say the word again. Because Sue tells me this word, I should know this now.
Chinois.
Chinois.
Chinese and French.
So if you don't have that in your kitchen,
any kind of strainer, colander, like if you just want to kind of use a slotted spoon and push stuff away, or just strain the stock out and just.
Oh, okay.
Like I'm just going in a quicker fashion.
Totally.
So yeah.
And if like as a home chef, it's I think a really neat thing to have in your kitchen when you have family over or whatnot, and you can impress them with your cool gadgets. So
yeah, that one's a fun one and pretty necessary if you're going to actually be making things. I'm gonna spin around here so I can see a little bit better and everything like that. So we have corn stock back here, corn soup here, and then through the magic of television, Anyway, I'm gonna keep going with the soup, but this is kind of how it ends up.
That's awesome. And then
pureed and everything.
Pureed, okay.
So I used a stick blender, immersion blender, whatever you want to call that. Like, and we're gonna walk over here, enjoy. Nice,
perfect.
Nice, fun blue color. My wife's favorite color, blue.
And
or teal or
leave it
green, or I don't know what that one is, but
you can leave it a bit, like you can really puree it to as much as you want. You could leave some chunks in it, right? Or you can puree it.
You could just leave it. You could not puree it at all and just have it as a chunky, brothy soup.
You know what it looks like in the first pot right now, like before you would puree it, what it looks like right now.
Yeah, I'll show it like right after I add like the cream into it. But that'll give it some body. And if you were going to leave it like this, you would cut up the garlic more than what this one is, because let's see if I can get it to a point where you can see it. Yeah, there's a big chunk of garlic there. You wouldn't really want that. But since I'm pureeing it, you can do it's the friend to the person with bad knife skills.
Okay. And I have to, Tara Click is watching, and hey Tara, and she's watching from Yellowstone, which that's so cool. So I feel like now I wish we could bring her in and see the background at Yellowstone. I'm sure it's amazing.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Stay away from bears.
I know. I hope you're having a great time, Tara.
Yeah. All right. So while that's simmering, which is what I'm going to let it do for a little bit, just to really let the corn break down and let those starches kind of pull out and everything. And so I add the cream toward the end.
Okay.
Just to kind of keep it a little fresher, brighter pop of the cream. The buy kitchen things that are going through my head right now. But
yeah, what you need. And Liz and the kids are watching, so they're loving it.
Hey, babe. So yeah, I am going to walk through the hush puppy batter now.
Perfect. Okay. Ready.
Mixing bowls away.
Yeah,
get that bigger mixing bowl.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's always like a family affair when we do this, because we got someone holding the camera. You've been doing your own camera work tonight, but it's just always a big family affair, and we're always so appreciative that everyone jumps in and helps out, and we're able to make these, on a weekly basis. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So right now with the hush puppy, and like I said before, if I didn't say it before, I'm going to say it again. It's basically like a cornbread mix that gets deep fried rather than baked off. So it's a little savory though. So I have a little bit of flour, too much light, a little flour with some baking powder and some salt in there. Just some regular yellow cornmeal. And if you can look right there, the cornmeal that I'm using.
Awesome.
No free ads. So then it's just shy. It's 3/4 of a cup, and I did half buttermilk and half like 2% milk.
Okay.
If you don't have buttermilk, just use regular milk all the way through. The buttermilk just adds that little background tang and everything like that. And it also has like a little bit more body than regular milk. So, and then I mix in an egg, and now I'm just going to, and then I have super small diced onions.
Okay.
So I will show everyone a little trick for getting very nice diced onions. You want,
and without crying, and without crying hysterically as you're cutting them.
Without crying hysterically. So the key with that, little tip there as well. Sharp knife. My sister just popped in.
Oh.
Sharp knife and a cold onion. So
okay.
If the onion's super warm, that those vapors are just going to be super.
Okay.
I don't know what the word is. I lost it.
Aromatic or
super, just like in your face.
Yes.
And then, and then a sharp knife will like make it less, like you're breaking down the cells less, and less of those vapors will come out. So if you're chopping it with a spoon, you're screwing yourself over.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of work too. But that's great. I feel like after every one of these now, we kind of learned after last week, we get all these amazing tips and tricks from, how knowledgeable you all are as chefs that we're going to have to pull a little book together of all of our summer chef edition tips and tricks. So.
Okay. So when you make like pancake or cornbread or any kind of, there we go.
There we go. Yeah.
You want to go wet into dry.
Okay.
Like for like breads and stuff like if you're going to make like yeast bread, you want to go dry into wet.
Okay. You're
blooming the yeast in the water and stuff like that. So it's just like with quick breads, it's wet and dry. So it just allows it to kind of incorporate better. can mix it less, just real quickly, and let it settle. And
Okay.
so I didn't over mix it. I just kind of got everything incorporated and wet.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to let it rest, because letting it rest allows that flour to kind of bloom and allow it to stiffen up a little bit. And it'll also kind of make it more tender, because that flour working really hard is not going to like hold everything. So it's going to relax a little bit, absorb it, and kind of everything's going to be more homogeneous. Like,
okay.
Make chili or soup, it's always better the next day. Like
Always.
making a pancake or like cornbread or anything like that, always let it rest, always let it chill out. It's kind of one of those like comfort food, mellow. So don't rush through it.
Okay.
There you go.
How long, is there a specific time that they should let it rest for? Like you should let it rest for, or
10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Not crazy long.
Yeah.
You can let it sit for a couple hours. I wouldn't let it go like overnight or anything, because then you start kind of getting into that like actual bread making. Like the glutens are starting to like develop and form and constantly like working on each other and everything.
Okay.
So and join me back down on the board. I'm going to get them out of the way. So yeah. Okay. So in order to get super nice dice, chef that I worked for when I was in like just in culinary school and everything, his name is Jeremy Fox. He's pretty big deal now.
Mm-hmm.
But he has this thing about like the perfect diced onion, and he only uses it for certain things, but he's very particular about it. And he takes the core out. That way it can kind of lay flat.
Uh-huh.
Cuts it into quarters, cuts it into very manageable pieces. Like I'm not taking a half and going like this and everything. That's if you need to just like get it diced up and into something, go ahead and do that. But for this, if you want nice looking onions, like just driving down. Hold on.
Anyone that is just joining us right now, we are here tonight with Chef Scott Megill. He is back. There is Scott. And we are making corn soup, a summer corn soup. And right now, showing us how to properly dice an onion, as well as we're slowly getting into the hush pupper.
On fire. Sorry.
Oh yeah, you don't want anything to catch on fire. That would not.
Sorry, that was my fryer had reached temp, and I moved it, and then it like sloshed a little bit, and then things. So
no worries.
Everything's good. Okay. So you have this white onion on this white background of the cutting board. I'm sure you guys can see it perfectly fine. But I cut it into nice little. Let's grab a good one. Guys, like so. And line them up into what you can manage. Like you want super nice things, just take your time and do it right. But just dropping down, almost did it. Just same deal. Turning your body, making sure that you can have your thumb behind your fingers. That way you don't have your fingers in your stuff. And then
looks great.
You get nice little. Yeah.
Awesome, and no tears.
And no tears because I
went all around.
Sharp knife, and I'm going quickly through it. So yeah, that and contact lenses help a whole lot. So, sorry, Cam.
I know. You would think these would shield something, but not really.
Yeah. So that was my cutting demonstration.
I love it. I'm sure a lot of people too. It's one thing when just like you said, go in the kitchen, you're going quick and stuff, but these are fun things to impress family that's over, or it's always fun to learn new things.
So I have my corn soup to a good point. And then we're gonna come.
Looks great.
And I'm gonna see. Do a little bit of little half and half works just fine.
How much did you pour in?
Enough? No, about a quarter of a cup.
Okay.
So just enough to kind of like get it throughout. For that amount, I started with the recipe is accurate. I'll say that.
Perfect. Yes, and
the amount of ears of corn, I way overshot that. If the recipe's written out somewhere, I said 4 ears of corn makes 1 pint. That's 2 ears of corn makes 1 pint.
Perfect. So, we can update it. We can.
Yeah, sorry.
Right.
Like, how do I guesstimate this? I'm gonna look and like,
yeah,
that much. So.
All good. We can update it. And for anyone that is watching, that way you don't feel like you have to be writing down every step that Scott's taking right now. Even though you can come back and watch.
If you have been good,
yes, right.
I barely know what I'm talking about.
So the recipe is on our website. So on our summer chef edition page on uniteforher.org, you can find the recipe. So so we'll just make sure we change it to 2 ears of corn. Yeah,
2 ears of corn, or about a pint worth of 2 cups of corn, a little bit of aromatics, half a cup of onion, quarter cup of celery, half or a quarter cup of fennel, but roughly about like maybe a half a bowl of fennel will get you there.
Awesome. I know. I feel like your whole family
it's a family affair. So just bringing it back up to a simmer with the half and half added, and I am going to buzz it in a moment. But since my fryer oil is up and ready to go, we are going to make the hush puppy.
Awesome. Okay.
So here we go.
Cool.
So, got it. All right. Hey, and okay, here we go. This is, I made a batch a little earlier today just to make sure that everything worked out and it had proper time to rest. So we're gonna go with this one. This is still going. So you can see like slightly different.
Yeah.
A little looser. This one's a little stiffer and holding better. Simmer. Okay. And here it comes. Coming right back.
That's all right. We have a bunch of people just joined too. So we're here with Chef Scott Megill, and we are about to make hush puppies. So hopefully Kyle's watching, because I know this is the part he really wanted to see. So I'm excited, and I feel like this is something we'll be able to hear through the screen and really kind of get excited about.
Especially if I lose control of the fryer. No.
Yeah, well, be careful.
So I'm just using a little pot fryer with a little probe thermometer there.
Uh-huh.
And for home use, that's more than enough. Especially if you're only making a little bit, it's not worth getting out the whole Fry Daddy or like.
Okay.
Fry Daddy is a term that my mother used. I think that was the brand name of the like little tabletop fryer thing that she had. So everybody in that like queue over there saying hi is like knows exactly what I'm talking about. So that's cool.
They all know what Fry Daddy is. I love it.
So, but yeah, like if you have a little tabletop fryer that's out and ready to go, awesome, good for you. Okay. You're living the good life. But if you're just doing a pot with just like canola oil, grapeseed oil, peanut oil, like nothing like canola oil. I know is not the best like health wise, but it's pretty solid for frying, and frying's not the best health wise either. So hey, whatever. But if you are trying to go for a better oil, I would say probably grapeseed oil has a high enough smoke point, or peanut oil if you're not allergic to peanuts or worried about somebody else being allergic to peanuts. Those are your better frying oils.
Cool.
Okay. I was moving around a lot.
I know. Every once in a while. No, it's fine. I think too, it's just technology every once in a while, but it's all good. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So fryer is like right at like 350 or so. And I'm just gonna take my spoon. If you have like a little clicky guy, like a little ice cream scoop or a little tiny ice cream scoop or anything that does like little balls or a melon baller or something like that, you can feel free to use that. I'm gonna turn that down. We just want that to stay warm. And then we are going to, Audrey, yes. The assistant is going to help me with this.
Oh, perfect. Good. Here we go.
So we're going to go just kind of dribbling it in. Okay. Awesome. Everything kind of like poured down into it. We'll do one more. Pour. The weight of the batter kind of like sinks into each other.
Okay.
And so it kind of forms that ball. So these are going to be nice little like puffs. They're not going to be perfect little balls or anything like that.
And
it's
Scott,
Southern cooking that's more appropriate anyway.
Scott, so, could you use avocado oil?
I've never fried with avocado oil, so I don't know how it would react. And that's something that probably Aaron knows better than me on the result of that one.
Okay.
But like safflower or grapeseed are both pretty high smoke point, and like not like extra virgin olive oil, which would smoke at like 350. So you're just getting that golden brown and waiting for it to kind of like set up on the outside, and then you're gonna flip it over, and then you're going. We've stuck pretty much. We topped out at about 375 with this oil when I put it in, but we're now at like right at 350 or so. And then I just kind of like baste it just to kind of make sure that it doesn't dry out too much on top and to keep it cooking all the way through. But so really important with like frying is keeping your oil at a good temperature. If it drops too low, that's when you get the super greasy stuff and it gets super heavy and it's not great.
Okay.
Behind me, right here.
And Erin did chime in, so thank you, Erin. She said, and I just showed it up there too, that yes, you could use avocado oil because it has a high.
That'd be great. So I'm just gonna flip and make sure they're all good, but a nice golden brown. And as long as your batter is at like a good room temperature, you're not gonna have any issues with it like not cooking all the way through. Once it's golden brown all the way through, you're going to be good to go. So nice here. And you can gussy this up. All I did was put onions and the cornmeal, but you can add herbs, like you can add spices or anything like that if you wanted to. Or you can leave the onions out, just do the cornbread and then kind of drizzle it with honey and make like little corn honey, like donut kind of guys.
So cool. Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do. So that was that. Pretty simple. Came out pretty nice.
Amazing. And I keep saying the only tough thing about doing this at 8 o'clock is now I'm hungry. And I'm like, I already ate dinner, I already did all that. Now I want
to. Simple to make. You could probably do it real soon. So.
I know. But yeah, everything.
Sure, Kyle would appreciate it. No,
he probably would. He probably
would. Have Kyle start doing it now while you're doing this.
I know. Unfortunately,
it's a cup of cornmeal, quarter cup of flour, or a quarter cup. If you want to skip like flour and baking powder and everything, just use Bisquick and that will work too.
And then
it's already done for you. So that works too. So I'm going to let those chill out. I'm going to, and this is my other chef thing, is having a dish of salt rather than a salt shaker or anything like that.
Okay.
Because it allows me to actually like know how much salt went onto something. So yeah. I'm going to show you guys how to buzz up. It's going to be a little loud. It takes a little bit. So my lovely assistant as well
will show. Thank you. And Keith said Chef Scott rules. So Keith is watching. Hey, Keith.
He sure does. Keith as well. I've learned everything I know from Keith. So if I'm screwing up, it's his fault.
That ever since I've had an immersion blender, you just use it so much. Everyone just tools in the kitchen that is so helpful to have.
So I'm going to do it on the stove. That way I can. So. Okay. No. So with using an immersion blender, you're gonna still have pulp. It's not gonna be perfectly smooth.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody is lucky enough to have like a VitaPrep or a really big time blender that's high powered, you can get that silky smooth and the body will be there and it'll be super nice. But this is still really awesome. And if you wanted to strain it through, trust the China cap over here. I don't know where. There we go. Sorry. If you want to strain it through the China cap, the pulp, you could like dry it out and make like little crumbles if you wanted to. Like just bake it in the oven. All the flavor is kind of in the soup though, so it's really just like a texture thing.
That's cool. Mm-hmm.
I would do that as like a little like cheat at a restaurant on like this little garnish thing, mix some herbs into it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, toast some cornbread with it, like all that kind of stuff. You can do fancy things like that for a dinner party at home, and then you have super, super smooth, like a little brothy but a little thickened soup as well. So
awesome.
So there you go. So you have that. Then, like once again, end result.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna sneak off and grab something.
That looks so great. Oh, Sue wants me to say the name again. Chinois. Is that right? Did I say that right? Did you hear me? Did I get it?
Yes, you got it.
Finally. I've only been hearing Sue and her son Taylor, who is a chef as well, talk about a chinois for years. So I'm not going to forget now.
Okay. So sorry, I'm making everybody busy. I'm making myself
That's okay.
busy. All right. So that little bowl.
And here comes, like, we need a drum roll for the final result.
1 second. I'm going to take this guy.
Perfect. It looks amazing. I love corn soup. And Karen said, yeah, corn is her favorite vegetable. And she never had a hush puppy, and she's going to try it now. So
who just said corn was a vegetable?
No, it's her favorite vegetable.
It's not a vegetable.
Yeah? See, now we keep learning new things.
Corn is in the grass family, technically a grain, so starch. So you want to. So we have corn and potatoes at a meal. I have this argument all the time.
That's like the only vegetable that Nora eats. So now I know that
It's got plenty of fiber. It's good. It's fine. It's just.
No, it's good. I love it. All good.
I just like.
Karen's going to try a hush puppy. She's going to try a hush puppy, and she's never had one yet. So there is the end result.
Corn soup, and then and in the spirit of using like everything that. Oh, jeez, I did it again. No, anyway, sorry.
That's okay.
Fennel frond. Sorry, I had it in a nice glass to like keep it. I don't know, but little using the fennel frond tops.
That looks awesome.
And that
so good.
It's not just for like making it look good, but like once that fennel frond hits the warm soup, that like anisey aroma pops out as well. So it might just look like useless vegetation on there, but it's really. Sorry, my wife just said her very Dutchy wife says corn is a vegetable, but it's not.
Oh, good. See, we've got some corn as a vegetable followers still out there. So real quickly, Scott, I know that you had mentioned you can make this cold. You can turn it more into a cold type of soup. So
yes. So
you need to know the correct way to do that.
I do. And for everybody, that's the inside of the hush puppy, nice and tender, fluffy, cooked all the way through.
Tastes delicious, I'm sure.
Everybody cooking at home. Sure. So yes. Sorry, I'm thinking while I'm chewing.
That's okay. That's all right.
I'm blonde, so give me a second.
That's okay.
So when you do cold soup,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, light's like bothering me now. Anyway, when you do cold soup, anything that's cold, the seasoning is going to be less perceivable.
Okay.
So when you have, if you're going to serve it cold, you want that initial like soup when it's warm to almost taste overpowering or even like maybe a little salty.
Okay.
Like right on the edge of salty. Yes, Dad.
I know. People are right. This is what happens. People judge me.
I'm all done. Okay. So, so with the, you need it to be overly flavorful when it's warm. So when it's cool, it's the appropriate amount of flavor. Also with like corn soup or things like vichyssoise that are the potato soups and everything. Remember those starches are going to thicken up. So if it's a nice thickness when it's warm, it's going to be even thicker when it's cold. So saving some of that corn stock, saving some of like another like liquid, preferably not adding water because you're just going to dilute it again. So saving another flavorful liquid to kind of thin it out if you need to adjust it, things like that. So remembering that seasoning when things are warm, seasoning, that's why you want to serve hot food hot. A warm plate of food, it's not going to taste as good because it's not hot enough. So, so having that seasoning and everything appropriate, and there you go. So that's the tip for when you're serving something that you would normally eat hot, cool, or if you're planning to serve it cool, make sure that you taste it appropriately and make sure that it is very flavorful and taste before you serve anything. So there you go.
Awesome. I feel like we learned a lot of really great tips tonight that I didn't know, especially corn. And I'm going to go Google this after. Is corn a vegetable? But I'm just joking. That's amazing. I don't know if anyone, I know we have a lot of people watching right now. Do you want to give one more shot of the finished product of the corn soup with the hush puppy? And so everyone knows too, we have, I know, don't tilt it too much. The recipe is on our Facebook page or on our Facebook as well as our uniteforher.org. And yet, Lynn, the recipe is on the Summer Chef Edition page of uniteforher.org. So the recipe can be found there, the corn soup recipe, the hush puppy recipe. And as we always say, if anyone, please try this, make this at home, tag Unite for Her in it, tag Scott in it. And he's on social media, and we love to see how people interpret recipes, and maybe they add the sunflower seeds or they do, add something different or garnish it differently. But please follow up with us on how this recipe worked out for you, any substitutions you may have made. I don't know, Scott, if you have anything else you would like to add.
You can make it completely vegan if you want. If you wanted to use a nut milk or oat milk, or if you just wanted to kind of really like use that cornstalk and not make it super creamy. Or you can add like a couple of diced up potatoes in there, and that will give you the body as well as the corn. So you can make it completely vegan and make it a nice, smooth, velvety soup. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You can season it however you want. You can throw a bunch of herbs in, like corn and basil. You can use a little tomato if you want to really make like a nice, very summery, late summer dish. Like you want to add some diced up tomatoes in there, and like the color is just going to be a little different, but you're going to get a nice pop. Also, like something I forgot to mention, always like having some kind of acid to adjust flavor with when you either go cold or just with a cream soup that's super roasty and stuff like that, I added a squeeze of lime in
Okay.
the batch and everything like that. I just realized that. I just looked
Mhm.
at that I forgot that. So a little bit of lime or lemon. I would stay away from like adding like any vinegar or anything because sometimes when you add that, it can mess with how everything kind of homogenizes and everything. So
Awesome. Well, we've got a lot of everyone they have just been loving the chef series, learning so much. And myself, the staff, we're just so appreciative that I'm going to bring us back here like this. Just so appreciative that you joined me tonight. It was a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to be Kyle will be making this, and for sure the Hush Puppies. So I'll be sure to tag Unite for her and in this as well. But thank you so much, Scott, for joining us. Thank you to Scott. I feel like Scott's family, near and far, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful to see you.
Very supportive
I know
sisters, so they're fantastic. Thank you.
it's so good. It's so good. So thank you. What'd you say? Sorry.
And older brother Keith.
Oh yeah, and Keith and our Unite for Her community. Thank you so much for joining us again for this edition of our Summer Chef series. And we'll be back again. And Scott, I hope to see you very soon. And thank you so much, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of the week.
Thank you. Enjoy.